pleased to have you.
Yeah. I thank the members of this committee for their commitment to oversight, one of our most sacred responsibilities as a Congress. Today's hearing focusing on a number of issues related to decisions of GSA and other senior officials and ultimately their impact on the American taxpayer. My concerns began last year when I learned that the relationship between GSA Inspector General Mr. Brian Miller and GSA Administrator Ms. Doan was strained and deteriorating. I hope you know that I had a long history of looking into wasteful government spending and the very important role that's played by inspectors generals. And I hope that you understand that it doesn't matter to me whether we have Republican or Democrat administrations. I try to do the job of oversight equally the same. I believe that the IG in any agency is our first and main line of defense against waste, fraud, and abuse of taxpayers' money and misconduct by government officials. The IGs quite simply are watchdogs, and I've been and will continue to watch the watchdogs. It's incumbent on Congress to ensure that the IGs are doing their job, that they have the resources to do their job, and that there's no undue interference with IG's ability to do mission. Currently, GSA holds contracts with thousands of contractors worth billions. Someone has to ensure that these contracts yield the best deal possible and that contractors involved honor all terms of each contract. The GSA, in the GSA, this is a team effort involving GSA contract officials and IG. This is a delicate balance, but one that has proven to work, proven by millions and millions of dollars of savings. When I learned that the relationship between GSA administrator and the IG was becoming more and more strained, I decided to get to the bottom, and I'm not pleased with what I found. I can certainly accept the agency heads and their IGs may not always see eye to eye. However, I cannot accept any move by an agency head to undermine the independence of the IG. That independence is the heart and soul of the IG Act. It's what allows the IG to present objective findings in their investigative reports. When it was brought to my attention that the administrator intended to remove the reimbursable fundings that the GSA IG depends on for audits of contracts in their pre-award phase, I immediately looked into the impact that it would have on the Inspector General's work. In the end, the money for the reimbursable audits was restored in fiscal year 2007, but the entire situation provided insight into the flawed budgeting concept that has the unintended effect of encroaching on the independence of the IG. So, on February the 23rd, 2007, I asked the Senate Appropriations Committee to fix the problem by providing a direct appropriation for GSA IG's pre-award audits. The reimbursable audits cost the GSA only $5 million per year, but have been responsible for saving more than $2 billion in the last 2 years alone. I think $10 billion in and $2 billion out sounds like a pretty good deal. I've asked Administrator Doan about her relationship with the IG, and she has assured me that she understands and accepts the importance and necessity of the IG's independence. She says that she is trying to bring fiscal discipline to the entire agency, including the Office of IG. I accept that because that's a worthy goal. But despite her assurances to the contrary, though, her actions and words have not convinced me that she is committed to utilizing the GSA Office of the Inspector General to its maximum potential as intended in law. She has indicated privately and publicly that the IG has been heavy-handed in dealing with GSA employees. She has even suggested that the IG officials have intimidated other GSA employees and contractors. These are very serious allegations against federal law enforcement officers and accredited auditors, and if true, they deserve the highest level of investigation by both Congress and the executive branch. Despite numerous attempts to get details, though, on these allegations from the administrator, I have received nothing but innuendos and unspecified allegations. During the course of my investigation, I discovered that there was one specific allegation relating to a contract involving government vendor, Sun Microsystem. The GSA IG conducted a very thorough investigation of the matter and could find no one in the GSA's regional office that felt intimidated by IG officials. However, during the course of that investigation, I did learn some very interesting facts about this particular Sun Microsystem contract, which may be the root cause of the dispute with the IG. The first piece of information that caught my attention was this. In spite of repeated warnings by senior GSA officials in 2006 that Sun Microsystem had allegedly committed civil and/or criminal fraud on 2 of these contracts, GSA, with Administrator Doan's blessing, proceeded to re-award the contract to Sun on September the 8th, 2006, with no conditions, strings, or precautions regarding alleged fraud. The IG began post-award audits of these contracts over 2 years ago. Those audits were finally completed yesterday. The scope of the alleged fraud has been established and verified. The allegations of fraud by Sun will now be referred to the Department of Justice for further consideration. By August 2006, several GSA contracting officials, all the way up to the administrator, were fully knowledgeable about the alleged fraud, yet none took appropriate corrective action to address alleged fraud. Why? Well, the alleged fraud on these contracts involving defective pricing, unauthorized charges, unpaid discounts, is valued at $10 million. Even Sun Microsystem had admitted to GSA that they had been negligent in providing proper pricing and discount information to GSA. Sun has provided a corrective action plan to prevent this from happening in the future. Whether this corrective action plan is effective remains to be seen, but that doesn't wipe out years of negligence by this government contractor. The second piece of information that concerned me was that this new Sun contract, which will go through 2009, was negotiated on terms that are extremely unfavorable to the government. The terms were so unfavorable, in fact, that immediately upon signing, taxpayers lost millions of dollars due to improper discounting and pricing calculations. The lost savings could be as high as $20 to $30 million based upon IG investigation. This was the very same issue that the GSA IG was investigating before the contract was renewed. It seems that everyone involved, the IG, the contracting officer, senior GSA officials, was aware that the new contract was bad for the GSA, bad for government, and of course bad for the taxpayers then. GSA's first response to the allegations of fraud developed by the IG was to grant another in a long line of contract extensions to Sun on August 30th, 2006. This brought a little time. Then a new contracting officer was installed on August 31st, a contracting officer with no previous experience with this very complicated contract. Finally, on September the 8th, just 8 days later, GSA awarded the contract to Sun. This contract that is even worse for the government than the one previously negotiated over the past year by the 2 previous contract officers, both of whom were replaced between February and August 2006. To make matters worse, the administrator told me in a letter dated March 13th, 2007, that she was made aware of the potential criminal fraud by Sun on August 29th, 2006, which was 2 days before the new contract officer was appointed and 9 days before the new contract was awarded. After the IG informed her of the alleged fraud on the Sun contract, she reportedly told the IG, quote, "It is essential for GSA to sign the contract with Sun," end of quote. That was on August the 29th. 2 days later, Federal Acquisition Service Commissioner Williams told the contract officer that he and Administrator Doan, quote, "considered the Sun contract strategically important and wanted it awarded," end of quote. What is even more shocking is that the FSA staff, the arm of the General Services Administration responsible for negotiating this contract, were made aware of Sun's alleged fraud as early as February 12th, 2006, and possibly earlier, but at least 7 months before the contract was awarded.